Somewhere right now, a business just closed a five-figure deal, onboarded a new client, and sent the invoice without a single human writing an email. For 20 years, scaling meant one thing: hire. More leads meant more SDRs. More support tickets meant more agents on the phones. In this model, headcount was the only lever for growth. Payroll was the unavoidable price you paid to reach the next level of revenue. But the math that tethers growth to payroll is hitting a ceiling. When every new customer requires a linear increase in staff, the management overhead and onboarding time eventually outpace the value of the scale itself. The businesses winning now have found a way around this. They run on systems that execute themselves, don't require training, and don't add to the management burden. These zero-touch operations are built on agentic workflows, systems designed to reason through a process, rather than just following a rigid one-way script. Surviving the next decade of business requires moving past the reflex to hire for every new problem and learning how to architect autonomous systems instead. A legacy operation is easy to spot. It involves a dozen open browser tabs and data trapped in separate tools that have never communicated. This creates a manual toll. Qualified leads sit and form responses for days because the person responsible for moving that data into the CRM hasn't gotten to it yet. The first attempt to solve this was deterministic automation, the era of if this, then that, and simple Zapier triggers. These are straight trigger action pipelines. When a form is submitted, add a row to a spreadsheet. Action X forces action Y. As this diagram shows, these pipelines are fragile. The moment a piece of data enters the system that doesn't fit the exact expected shape, the entire structure shatters. These pipelines fail because they possess zero reasoning capability. They cannot look at an input and decide what to do with it. The moment reality deviates from the programmed script, the automation stops. This just shifts the bottleneck. You still need a human to step back in and manually clean up the data when these edge cases occur. Agentic workflows solve this by pursuing goals rather than just reacting to triggers. We can trace a single data packet through this multi-agent architecture to see how it handles complexity. A lead enters the intake node at 2 a.m. A qualification agent detects the submission and prepares the payload. Next, the packet moves into the enrichment node. Here, the agent researches the lead autonomously, pulling in data from the website and social profiles to build full context. The enriched packet enters the decision node. The system uses reasoning to compare this data against the ideal customer profile and scores it accordingly. Finally, the packet reaches the action node, where the path is determined by a confidence threshold. If the data is ambiguous, the system flags it for a human to review with a single click. But if the agent is certain, it executes the outreach autonomously, sending a personalized response based on the research it just conducted. Chaining these context-aware nodes together removes humans from the routing of data, allowing them to focus only on the rare cases the machine can't solve. Modern lean operations don't need a war room of people watching screens. They run on 3 or 4 of these pipelines operating in the background. The difference is visible in the throughput. On the left, manual overhead creates a constant bottleneck. On the right, the automated engine allows data to flow without human interference. This applies to the inbox too. A triage agent drafts replies and resolves routine support issues before a founder even sees them. The system only escalates genuine exceptions, like a complex legal request or a frustrated customer, ensuring a human only touches the messages that require a brain. Fulfillment follows the same logic. A payment event fires a webhook that instantly grants access and logs the invoice. That same trigger auto-books the onboarding call, schedules a 30-day follow-up with zero manual entry. By offloading the vast majority of predictable, structured work to the machine, a small team can dedicate their full cognitive bandwidth to the high-stakes decisions. This change in architecture creates a permanent economic gap between companies that scale through people and those that scale through compute. This graph shows the divergence. The red line represents the cost of adding headcount. The blue line is the cost of adding compute. For a legacy company, every new customer adds marginal costs in the form of management layers, meetings, and approval chains. For an agentic operation, scaling just means increasing server usage. The cost of serving the next customer stays near zero. Compute doesn't require performance reviews, one-on-ones, or Slack threads about time off. It just executes. You can start moving toward this model with a single operational audit. Find one process in your business where information is currently moved from one place to another by hand. Look for a lead being copied into a spreadsheet or a weekly report that is manually compiled from multiple data sources. Map that process in 15 minutes. Identify the trigger, the decision that needs to be made, and the next action. Ask yourself, does a human genuinely need to make a judgment call here, or are they just moving data from one box to another? If they are just moving data, that is no longer a person's job. That is a workflow's job. The companies that win from here aren't the ones with the biggest teams. They are the ones with the fewest humans standing between a customer and the outcome they paid for.